Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 5 of the Simability Racing League here on JP Broadcasting. It is going to be one crazy night tonight, folks. I tell you what, we are here at Iowa Speedway, 75 laps going to be the distance tonight, and these drivers are in the SK Modified, which means we are going to see some drafting tonight. We're going to see cars right on each other's bumper as close as they can get, trying to get every ounce of speed they can. And don't forget them slingshot moves. They can happen here tonight with all of the drafting and everything we've got going on. It will be a doozy. 75 laps here at Iowa for the Simability Racing League. Round 5 out of 20. The first 4 rounds, we've had some spectacular action on track with multiple different winners at multiple different kinds of racetracks. Tonight, we are at a track that's over a half mile, almost a mile in length, 0.9 miles, so pretty much a mile in length. A lot of the tracks we usually run are short tracks, so this gives these guys an opportunity to really kind of almost flat foot all the way around this racetrack and use the drafting and different skills they use in different forms of racing that they use here on the iRacing sim. So the next 3 weeks, we are at some shorter tracks. We got Langley coming up. We've got Lanier coming up, which is really short. The next 3 races are short. And then we go to Martinsville for the next All-Star Challenge race. And Martinsville is a half mile, so it is a little bigger, but the turns are really slow and tight, so it'll be a mix for everything. And then we continue on down the schedule, and 15 more races after this, and these drivers are going to be duking it out. Like, we got Brandon Minnick up on front right now. He's not even been here in a little while. He has won here in Simability, so he's a person to watch out for. And then we've got Don Koneman and Chris Robert, as you see them, are working together in the draft, trying to get past Brandon Minnick on the scoreboard here in practice. Only a few minutes left here in practice. They've had an hour. You got 6.5 more minutes to go, and these guys will be ready to duke it out here in Iowa. You see how close they're getting. We shouldn't see a whole lot of spinning out unless we get the guys that are bumping in the corners, which is very possible running this very close. But it is going to be so much fun. Don Koneman, winner a couple weeks ago. He's going to be looking to get out front. Billy Wise, he's currently in the pits right now. Our winner from last week, he's got 2 wins now. So Billy Wise looking to be a championship contender. So he's in the number 32, currently in 7th position on the scoreboard. Lots of competition, very, very close times on the board. If you look at the board there, Brandon Minnick on top with a 24.824, and Koneman with a 24.854, and then Robert's there, who's kind of helped Koneman through that draft at a 29 or 24.934. So all within about a tenth and a half to 2 tenths of each other. And then you got Dalton Brown right on Robert's tail with a 9.64, and then Tom Johnson rounding out the top 5 with a 9.74. Very, very close times. I'm pretty sure Minnick is actually at 8.24, not a 6.24. It's kind of hard to see with that purple letter there. Pardon me, folks, having a little sneeze attack. We're good to go. 5 minutes left in practice. Koneman doing everything he can on Brown's bumper. These three working together trying to top the charts, but I'm not sure how Minute got that fast of a time. Almost half a tenth in front of Koneman. So looks like Roberge is out. We've got a fairly large field out here this afternoon. 16 cars so far shown up, and we have a few more that could possibly show up. Jacob Van in his number 15 machine back out on the field. He's currently 9th position on the board, but not too far off the pace, 25.095, so only 2/10 off the top 5 pace, and that's pretty easy to catch once you spend 75 laps driving behind some of these guys. So we'll see if Jacob Van, who has won here in the Simability League in his first couple races out, we'll see if he can get that number 15 machine back up towards the top. We got our reigning champion on track, the number 23 of Tom Johnson. Johnson has not pulled off a win yet this season, but he has been very consistent, finishing up in the top 3, top 4, top 5, so he's still going to be in contention. We call him Mr. Consistency. He may not win a lot of races, but he's there. He has good finishes. And a lot of times the drivers that are winning races are pushing a little harder, and they have some worse finishes. So Johnson, Mr. Consistency, still hanging in there. 5th place on the scoreboard, but bet he will be making some moves on the racetrack. Oh, as we see Lyons give a little bump going into the corner. That's the kind of stuff you're going to look forward to seeing. Andrew Smith in the number 87 on track. He's all by himself putting down some times, and that's why he's going to be shown a little bit slower. Not running in the draft will lose you a little bit of time. Got a new driver in the number 12, Sean Hawkins. Welcome to Simability Racing League. Nice to see some new faces on track. This is going to be a great show tonight, y'all. Travis Zudema just showing up to the number 90. He pulled off a spectacular finish last week, getting himself into the top 3. Very, very exciting. Can he do it again here? He's currently at the bottom of the charts, but that could change very, very rapidly as he's got Jacob Van there in front as some drafting support. 2 minutes left in practice, and Chris Roberge is spinning out coming out of turn number 2. So let's take a ride with Travis Zudema, and we'll go around this racetrack quick a minute and see what it's like from the driver's point of view here at Iowa. That's that speed that you saw there. Zudema accidentally getting into Jacob Van there. That lower line carries so much more momentum through the corner than the high side does. You think you can come down, but when you apex that corner, you can kind of get on the gas a little faster and a little more, get that draft, and there you go. He's going to work down to the inside and try to make a move on Jacob Van. So Travis Zudema, can he put in? Oh, he's going to work up wide. That's going to be rough on him. I don't think that's going to be a very decent lap. Going way out to the outside. But drivers leaving, coming back on the track. Hey Dan, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat. Hello, welcome everybody to the Simability Racing League here on JP Broadcasting. 75 laps of action coming up to you very shortly. Drivers about to get the checkered flag on practice and get their 2 laps of lone qualifying in. 25 seconds, so it only should be a couple minutes. And we will have our starting lineup for tonight's event. That's going to be the end of practice. Flagman is waving the checkered flag. So these guys about to battle it out for the glory of winning quarter way through the season. 15 more races to go after this one. and these drivers are very, very close in points. I apologize. We do not have an actual points quite yet, but we will be getting some points for these drivers here next week so we can show you our battle for the championship. And we're also going to make sure we can show you the battle for the All-Star Challenge. We just had our challenge series last week at Five Flags Motor Speedway. You could check that out on JP Broadcasting. Check it out in our section, the Simability Racing section. Came out with an awesome race. We had a few cautions here and there, but the racing there was spectacular, and we had some really awesome action. Next one is at Martinsville, and these drivers are battling for the points. So the more points you score, the better you have at winning the cash prize at the end of the season. You have 4 races in which to score points, and they're all different kinds of tracks. We got Martinsville coming up on March 8th. That's going to be our second All-Star Challenge race. Richmond is coming up April 5th. April 5th is going to be Richmond. Richmond is my favorite track. I cannot wait to see these guys battle it out at Richmond. And the final All-Star race is going to be at the Bull Ring May 10th. So lots of different kind of tracks. We got very short tracks. We got a little bit longer tracks. These guys really need to use their skills in order to get the points in these 4 races in order to win the cash prize at the end. So lots on the line. This is just regular season at the moment. And it looks like Mr. Consistency, Tom Johnson, currently up top on the board. Don Koneman going up top. We'll run live with you with the scoring tower, as we don't really have a way to watch all these drivers with lone qualifying. But Don Koneman currently at the top. Ronald Lyons currently third. Few drivers still yet to qualify. Brandon Minnick has not qualified. Chris Roberge, Jacob Van, Travis Zudema. So a few more left to go if they're going to go. But they've got 5 minutes in order to do these 2 laps, and it only takes about a minute to get the 2 laps in. So they do have a little bit of time. 2 minutes and 40 seconds has passed. So just a couple more minutes left to go in the session. Some drivers may elect to start in the back and try to get that point. But right now, as they're finishing up their qualifying session, I'd like y'all to rise, remove your caps, and join me in the singing of our national anthem. Thank you, Billy Wise, for that awesome rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. Billy Wise, you can check him out. He's in the number 32 machine on track this evening. He's the man that makes all of this possible. Let's take a look at your starting lineup. Don Koneman grabs the pole with 25.003. Brandon Minnick going to take the outside pole. Just 0.02 of a second off Koneman's time. Chris Robert is going to be starting inside row number 2 with Tom Johnson to his outside. Daniel Cook starting 5th with Ronald Lyons getting in a good starting position in 6th place. Stephen Kiefer going to roll off 7th with the man, the myth, and the legend. Billy Wise in a number 32 Action Sports Foundation car. He's rolling off 8th. Jacob Van and Dalton Brown completing row number 5. Sean Hawkins in the 12, new to the league. He's rolling off 11th with Brian Lowhead rolling off 12th. Thomas Wise 13th. Bobby Wise 14th. And Travis Zudema rounding out the end of the field with Andrew Smith, Andrew Smith, is actually rounding out the end of the field for you tonight. So they're rolling off the pit lane, getting ready to go. And there it is. There's your lineup as they're running off. Don Koneman takes another pole here in the Simability Racing League, but being a drafting track, Chris Roberts is going to be caught on the outside. He's now going to have Daniel Cook to be the push boy. He's going to have to get a push from Cook. And then he's got Kiefer on Roberts' outside. So that's going to really make it really tough for these guys. Unless he's on the inside and the top line's just not working. There it is. Brandon Minnick must have come in right there. There we go. That's all the bottom line. So I guess he does have Roberts there on the inside. Tom Johnson going to be the push for Brandon Minnick on the outside. Lights are off on a pace car. This should be the one to go signal. As these drivers get ready. 75 laps the distance. And only one victor. We will have some interviews of the top 3 drivers here at the end of the race. So make sure you stay tuned to that to hear from the guys wheeling the race cars out here. But 16 drivers. It's going to get nuts. It's going to get crazy. We're going to try to make sure we have all the action here for you on the JP Broadcasting Network. And it's going to be awesome. We're here live on YouTube. And we're getting ready to go racing. Make sure you reach down, pull them seatbelts tight one more time. Because we're about to go racing here with round number 5 of the SK Super Series. The flag is in hand. And green flag is out in the air. Koneman and Minnick get a great start side by side. And it's going to take about 3/4 of a lap for these cars to fully get up to speed into drafting. Minnick loses it a little bit. Tom Johnson's going to make it 3 wide. And you see Chris Roberts right there is on Koneman's tail, giving him a push. Just a couple inches away. Lots of battling. We've got some 3 wide action in the back. Kiefer leading the second group. Van and Dalton Brown there. It's going to be a hard time keeping on all the action. The front pack, about 7 cars starting to break away from the field now. Tom Johnson battling very hard on the outside of Chris Roberts. Doesn't want to give up that track position quite yet. Front 4 are going to get in line. That means all the rest of these drivers are going to have to do something. Everybody's starting to fall in line. Billy Wise trying to work his way up. He moves up into 6th position past Ronald Lyons. He's up 2 spots from his starting spot. It looks like they just get back in line, but Ryan Lowhead getting passed by Dalton Brown. And there's Travis Zudema working his way up. He usually starts in the back. Up to 11th position, started in 15th. Watch that 90 car work his way up, but up front, we're all single file now. Gonna be very, very hard to pass here. Koneman out front. Now we just gotta worry about bumps. Minnick is gonna look to the outside of Roberts, but I don't think he's gonna have the strength to do it unless Tom Johnson can get on his tail. As you can see how close Roberts and Koneman are running together. If they can link up, they have to worry about bumping each other and spinning one another out. But if these two can link up, they might be able to pull away from this field if the field can't get together. Right, on board with Chris Roberts and see how close he actually gets to Koneman in the corner. Right here, he's going to get that draft coming down the straightaway. Koneman creeping closer and closer and closer. This is the hard part. He does let off a little bit. It gets a little too far down, so Roberts not going to be able to pull away. Minnick is going to be all over his tail after that. It only takes a second, and you really got to watch that yellow stripe on the bottom. It can really ruin your day really, really fast. It looks like we're mostly single file out here. Ronald Lyons trying to make a move on Billy Wise, but he is no drafting help, and you're not going to be able to do that on the outside, so he's going to be falling back there. We've got a little line coming here with Stephen Kiefer at the front, Dalton Brown in the back, with Van and Hawkins sandwiched in between this four-car field. If they can keep it up like this, they should be able to catch the rest of the field up front. Koneman and Roberts still running close, but Minnick now all over Roberts' tail. And Billy Wise running all by himself way out wide. Lyon's going to take that spot back, and I'm sure Billy's going to get back there. And it looks like we've got a battle for second place. Yellow line, you can go below it, and Minnick has done so to get underneath Chris Roberts. Move Brandon Minnick back up to second place where he started. That high line going to be a very, very tough line to deal with tonight on restarts. If we have some caution flags, we're already almost 10 laps through this race. 65 more laps to go as we see Don Koneman cross the stripe, but Roberts really doesn't want to give up that third spot because Tom Johnson's coming. So can Roberts get down? Yeah, he does. There he goes, pulls down into third position and stops Tom Johnson from getting there. So we got a little battle in the back. This four-car line not really staying in line with each other. Guessing they're a little worried about bumping too early. But definitely going to be a full draft track, and it is possible to do a slingshot move. So in Travis Zudema, something happened to Travis Zudema. He is all the way down into 16th place. What happened there? Look, there it is. He caught that apron. He spun out on the inside. That's not going to cause a caution, but he didn't hit anything. Great recovery, and he's going to keep it on the lead lap for the moment, but he is definitely going to be much slower than everybody else on the racetrack. Don Koneman still out front leading this, 14 laps now completed. Roberts in second. Tom Johnson currently third as Brandon Minnick has fallen back. He must have touched the apron because Tom Johnson and Daniel Cook have now gotten by Minnick, and Minnick now trying to get underneath Cook down the front straightaway. He's weaving side to side, makes you a little bit nervous. Lap number 15, he gives him a little touch. Cook did not want to give him a lot of room there on the bottom, and we've seen it happen. A little further back in the field, Billy Wise in that 32 machine starting to fall back a little bit from Lyons and might become a victim of this four-car group led by Stephen Kiefer here in just a moment if he can't get caught back up. Oh, we've got a battle back here with Hawkins. Hawkins losing a position. He's all over the racetrack. He's spinning out and into the wall. And that's going to cause a caution because that is right out in front of the last place cars. So there is your first yellow flag of the night, lap number 17. And we are going to now have a restart. That's going to be super helpful for the number 90 of Travis Zudema. Had that spin out, he'll be able to hit pit road. And looks like the pit road's closed, so he's not going to hit pit road this time. He had to let that other car by, but Zudema will be able to catch back up to the field, get some fresh rubbers on them flat-spotted tires, and he'll be ready to go back towards the front of the field. Don Koneman now your leader after 17. Chris Roberge in second position. Tom Johnson now sitting pretty in third position with Daniel Cook. Or is that Brandon Minnick? Looks like he's going to take fourth. Daniel Cook going to round out the top 5 drivers so far. Ronald Lyons in 6th. Billy Wise holding on to 7th, hoping that being on the inside, he might be able to get a little something going on this next restart. And Stephen Kiefer was trying to work his way up from the back, leading that crew. He's 8th. Jacob Van 9th, and Dalton Brown rounds out our top 10. Very surprised we made it 17 laps before we had our first caution. Being a drafting track, being a very, very close quarters track, these guys have kept it very, very clean so far through this race. 57 laps to go as they cross the stripe. And we are going to have a nice little caution run with this almost mile track. The caution flag laps will take a little bit of time. So why don't we go and see how Don Koneman feels about how his race chances are. Hey, Don. Rob Sluiter up in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
Hey, Don. So 18 laps in the books before the first caution here. How do you feel about how this race is going to play out in the last 55 laps?
I'm nervous. Anytime I'm up here in the beginning, it never ends well. So fingers crossed. Hopefully we can keep her up here.
Yeah, you've had a little patch of sour luck here in the beginning first quarter of this season. Do you think that you could rebound from that and catch Mr. Consistency and Billy Wise out there leading the front of the championship points at the moment?
Well, I guess time will tell on that.
Well, good luck here at Iowa. Round number 5 here. Anybody you want to give a shout out to while you're out here leading the race?
Swagger in, Linden Station, Wisconsin.
There you have it, Swagger in. Drink some beers because I'm not going to pronounce his name wrong, but we got Don Koneman out front. Lights are off on a pace car. We're going to get ready to go back racing next time around. And Chris Robert's back on the outside, but he's got Brandon Minnick behind him this time. Maybe them two being flipped around and Robert's being up top. Maybe Robert's can get a push from Minnick and get around Koneman, but Koneman is very hot on the restarts. But you don't want to get too much of a gap here because then that draft will allow the rest of the drivers to catch you. So you got to be really smart. Him and Roberge are pretty close friends, and I feel they're going to race each other good. So Koneman might get a little bit of a jump to let him get in behind, but we'll see as the pace car gets ready to pull off in turn number 4. As they cross the stripe, it'll be 20 laps completed, 55 to go. There goes Koneman. Roberge gets in, and yes, Roberge jumps on down. But Koneman getting a good car length to car and a half gap over Roberge. Minnick and Johnson side by side, and the rest of the field trying to get their way. Andrew Johnson trying to make his way up towards the front. And we've got Brandon Minnick all the way down on the apron, trying to get by Thomas Johnson, but he can't do it. And now that's going to allow Daniel Cook to come. And Billy Wise might try to follow in there. Minnick really needs to get himself situated. Koneman and Roberge pulling away almost by a half a second now. Roberge still trying to catch up to Koneman. Billy Wise under fire from Lyons and Van. And these guys got back to single file very, very fast as opposed to the beginning of the race. Everybody all the way on back. Travis Zudema still 13th position. He's making a move at Brian Lowhead right now. Got to really watch out. Oh, there goes the 12. One more time, getting super loose coming out of the corner. So, not really sure what's going on with the 12 there. He's getting that apron. He's driving a little too low, and then it's upsetting the car. So, really got to watch out for him. Koneman, Robert's all over him, and Robert's doesn't try to slingshot move. They've got a big gap between them and Tom Johnson. Almost a full second, 0.8 of a second back from Don Koneman. And Johnson has got a mirror full of Cook and Minnick. And if those two can't get it situated, Koneman and Roberts can pull away from these guys. Billy Wise in that 32, currently leading the second and largest group of drivers at the moment. And as you see further back there, Travis Zuma in the 90, he's that first car not in the group. He's got a long way to try to catch Andrew Smith. If Smith falls back a little bit, he might be able to use some draft, but in that time lost, them cars are going to pull away. So Zunema really going to have to work kind of hard. It looks like we've got a battle up there with Stephen Kiefer. Dalton Brown's going at it, so that's going to slow these drivers down as well. And there is the full second that Koneman and Roberge have over Johnson now. Minnick trying to make a move on Cook, not going to be able to make it work. A lot of these guys falling in line. Looks like Lyons trying to make a move on Billy Wise. Oh, and there it is. Caution flag. A couple drivers getting into it all over the place. Kiefer, Smith. Oh, man, still wrecking. Whoa, what happened there? Where did that all come from? And it looks like it's going to be on Jacob Van in the 15. Let's take a look at that one more time from Jacob Van's point of view. And he just gets into the back of Lyons and someone gets in the back of him. Let's see from Richard Ronald Lyons. See what happened from his point of view there. Yep, and there it is. Just a little tap, and then everybody goes flying. So, caution number 2 on the Speedway, and we have multiple drivers coming down to the pits. That happened on lap number 28, so a lot shorter distance between the cautions, but you know what they say, cautions breed cautions. And Travis Zunema is actually in the pits as well, so maybe he had a little problem in there too, not sure. But he's having a hard time working his way up through the field at the moment. Billy Wise in that number 32 machine up to 6th. 2 spots up from where he started, but I'm sure he wants to get a little further up the field. But these guys up here are getting faster and faster every single week and getting closer and closer every week, and it's awesome to see the group of drivers over the years get better and better together. It makes for some awesome racing. If you're new here, thank you for joining us here on JP Broadcasting. You are watching the Simability Racing League. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and get the notifications. And make sure you always give a thumbs up and leave a comment while you're here. We'd love to hear from you. We're so glad you're here. And these drivers cannot wait to get going back racing. 2 caution flags in the last 30 laps. 45 more laps to go. We haven't even hit halfway yet. I know some of these drivers are planning pit stops for fuel and whatnot so they can keep the cars a little bit lighter and get a little bit more speed out of them. So we'll have to watch out for pit strategy and whatever ends up going on. Bobby Wise, notable driver, he is up into the top 10 now in 9th in that number 14. We did have some drivers go and take some pit stops and whatnot, so we'll see if he can hang behind old man there, Thomas Wise, in that number 3 tie-dye painted machine. If he can hold behind that number 3, those two might be able to keep up with the pack and keep some of these drivers behind them. But I believe that's going to be lights out on the pace car. We're going to get ready to go back green flag racing. Double stacked and re-racked. 2x2. And Koneman is going to have the start, but he's got Johnson behind him now. So he might not be able to give Roberge that gap in there if Johnson can hold it down. You saw in the last restart, Roberge jumped in the gap that Koneman created. There might not be a gap this time. And Minnick now starting on the bottom of the track, so that might come into play as well. If Minnick can get below Johnson and quick, he might be able to take second. You hear him bump in there. Pace car about to pull off. And that green flag's in the hand of Koneman. Koneman's on the loud pedal. He's going to leave room for Roberge to get in. Roberge drops to the bottom before the start stripe. I'm not sure he's allowed to do that, so we might have to check the rules on that. But I'm pretty sure you need to wait until the stripe to be able to drop down. That might be a thing for him, but everybody getting single file pretty quick. Brandon Minnick trying to make a move on Tom Johnson before we get fully up to speed. Not going to be able to do it. Billy Weiss all over Daniel Cook. Minnick trying to make that bottom side work. Can't do it. And the caution flag comes out one more time. And it looks like a big one. Look at Brian Lowhead, number 24 machine, and it looks like Dalton Brown gets the apron, clips Van, which sends Bobby Wise upside down. Zudema's in it. Oh no, Lowhead in it. Oh man, what a crash. Let's take a. Oh man. What happened to Jacob Van? Brown comes up, spins, Van has nowhere to go, gets into him, and goes flipping end over end. Wow, stuck in the fence for that number 15 machine. Tough brakes all around as we hit 34, almost to the halfway point. And we have our first fairly big wreck of the evening, claiming at least 6 or 7 drivers, 4 of which currently in the pits. Tom Koneman out front. Chris Roberge in second position. And Tom Johnson, Mr. Consistency, sitting in third. He's not going to give up too many points. Every position is 1 point in a race. So if Johnson, per se, finishes in third almost every race, Koneman wins most races, but also finishes in last because of this or that or whatever, all of a sudden, Koneman is losing way more points than Johnson is just finishing in third every single week. And then, all of a sudden, Tom Johnson, season champion again. So, Koneman's really got to keep that in mind. He had a rough beginning of the season, and it only takes a couple races to really seal you out of the championship. We do have a little bit longer season this season, so we should have some more opportunity for missing a race here or there or whatnot. But just to be safe, you really got to make sure you're there and you're performing every single time, because this field is very, very competitive. And if you want that edge, you need to be out there and you need to be up front every single week. Billy Wise in that number 32. He usually has a lot of speed, but struggling today here in Iowa. He's up 2 positions, but still only riding around in 6th place. And the lights are out on the pace car one more time. We're going to go back racing. Once we get back racing, we should be at about the halfway point. Lap number 37 when we go back green. And 37 is our halfway point, 37, 38. So halfway here. 3 cautions so far. Cautions breed cautions. Will we get some more? They went 18, 9, and then 3. They exponentially getting closer. We're going to see pace car pulls on off, and Koeneman is on the loud pedal, and everybody else gets a great start. Johnson gets a really good start. Can Johnson hold the inside line on Chris Roberts? Johnson does get the run on Roberts. Brandon Minnick going to jump down to the inside. He's going to get a nose underneath Roberts. Roberts going to get hung out on the outside. Koeneman now at the mercy of Tom Johnson and Brandon Minnick. We've seen how hard it is here to pass 2 drivers working together. It's much harder to keep behind than 1 driver trying to work with you. So there you have it. Looks like Sean Hawkins had a problem in the back of the field. Not going to be a problem for our leaders at the moment. Everybody getting single file out. Billy Wise still in 6th after that start. Daniel Cook in that number 11, sitting pretty in 5th place, doing a nice job, and he runs a little wide. He does that too many times. Billy Wise can capitalize on it. And we got some stuff going back here. It looks like Stephen Kiefer and Andrew Smith battling it out. Kiefer trying to get back towards the front after almost being caught up in that caution flag. A couple of these drivers very, very quick, just running into a brick wall when you can't get by these drivers as you go. And Johnson now catching up to Koeneman. The top 4 drivers, you can throw them under a blanket. This is when it gets really, really tense and tight. Coming to 35 laps to go. Minnick all over Johnson's tail, giving him bumps down the backstretch, swerving in and out of the lane. Something's going to have to give. Minnick jumps down to the inside of Tom Johnson. It looks like that's going to be the only place to really try to pass, is going to be coming out of turn number 4 and getting your car lower than the other car and maintaining speed. As Chris Roberts goes by Johnson, Johnson on the bottom under fire. I think he's going to have time to get down before Cook gets there. But that's the danger of being caught on the outside without help, as they have the 12 of Sean Hawkins going a lap down after that incident he had a little bit earlier. And Minnick now trying to look to the outside of Koeneman. Is that going to allow Roberts to get inside? He's going to try to look to the inside of Koeneman. Koeneman shuts the door. Now Roberts all over Minnick's tail. And that forces Minnick high. Roberts to the inside. They almost touch side by side on a turn number 2 for 2nd place. And that's going to be Roberts. He's going to take it. Minnick's going to slam the door on Johnson. Johnson really wanted to get to the inside. And there it is. Brandon Minnick hits Chris Roberts, sends him into the wall. Caution flag on the Speedway, lap number 45. And that might get Brandon Minnick sent to the tail. I know the number 98 of Roberts is not going to be happy about that one at all. Let's take a look from on board from Brandon Minnick. Oh, that is Roberts. We want Minnick. There he goes, and he just comes up. I'll mind that real quick a second and take a look at what happened there. Tries to come down to get the cut down to the inside. Taps the apron a little bit. It comes up and hits the 98. That's a really tough call right there. Not sure what the admins are going to say about that. I'm sure Roberts is not very happy. Now down to 12th position after running up in the top 5 all race. He's got 30 laps to get it back up to the front. We are under caution for the 4th time tonight. Don Koeneman up front, Tom Johnson in 2nd, and Brandon Minnick currently running 3rd with that wreck. Billy Wise has jumped another spot, and he is up to 5th position, but our big mover of the race so far is the number 87 of Andrew Smith, up 8 positions from where he started. He started dead last, currently 8th, and doing a great job trying to get that point for most positions gained. Doing a pretty darn good job driving that car, keeping it out of trouble. You seen earlier, he missed that wreck. Came almost to a complete stop on the racetrack to make sure he didn't wreck that car. So great driving by the number 87 machine, and look to see him possibly move a little further up if these drivers keep getting into each other driving reckless. So keep an eye on that 87. Maybe he'll get up front. Travis Zunema in the 90 there. You see him. I think he's getting a wave around or something. But Zunema is going to move up, looks like, to 8th position in front of Andrew Smith. So that's going to actually put Zunema tied with Smith for the most positions gained at the present time on the racetrack. Sounds like Nate thinks that was on purpose. It's hard to say. It looks like it was on purpose, but then you get into the in car, and it kind of looks like he hit the apron. Yeah, he probably was driving a little too aggressively on that move, but not necessarily purposely driving into him. I think he was more trying to get below and just kind of hit the apron at the wrong time, a little too early, and ended up getting into him. I think if anything was to blame there, that's going to be impatience on Brandon Minnick's part, being that it is so hard to pass here, knowing that's the only spot to get by, and really wanting to get up to the front with the cautions that are happening. So I don't see that being on purpose. I believe that's why he's still up there in 3rd position, but a very, very tough break for Chris Roberge. He is still on the pit road awaiting his crew. Not sure if he's going to actually come back on the track or not. I'm sure he's pretty upset. Hopefully we see that 98 get back on track here. Don Koneman out front right now, getting really close to 25 laps to go. It's going to be crunch time here. We did 18 laps under green at the start of this race. So if we get going back green flag racing, there is a possibility we could run it out to the end under green flag, which I'm sure everybody would love. And I know Koneman does not want to have to do too many more of these restarts. It gives him too much risk of having cars way too close, and I know he's dying for a win this evening. We'll see if we can get it to him. If you're just joining us, welcome. We're here on JP Broadcasting with the Simability Racing League. It is round 5 here at Iowa Speedway. And Don Koneman is out front. Tom Johnson in 2nd, Brandon Minnick 3rd, Daniel Cook 4th, and Billy Wise, the number 32 machine, rounding out your top 5. Getting ready to go back green flag racing. 51 laps to go when we cross the stripe. Don Koneman is going to have it in his hands. Is he going to give a little bit of room for Johnson to try to get in there in between him and Minnick? Or is Minnick going to be all over his tail on this start? We're about to find out. Pace car diving off the racetrack. Koneman on the throttle. And I don't think Johnson got enough on Brandon Minnick. Minnick going to be right there. Billy Wise moves past Daniel Cook. Billy Wise moves up to 4th. Great move by that number 32 on the restart. Gets himself up to 4th place. And it looks like Chris Roberge is back there. He is a lap, 2 laps down, but got his car serviced. He's back. I know he's probably the only driver hoping for a caution at the moment to try to get some laps back. Lots going on the track. Zunema trying to work his way up. He's 8th. Looks like Jacob Van and Thomas Wise having a battle further back on the track. That's for 11th position. Jacob Van is going to take that spot away. Looks like Brian Lowhead is getting passed by Sean Hawkins, who's running that apron, getting loose, and crashes in front of Lowhead. That's going to send Lowhead into the wall, and that's going to be another caution. And that is a tough break. That was totally, honestly, I believe uncalled for. I've seen that 12 getting way too close to that yellow line, and now Brian Lowhead sees this. He's giving him space. He's doing everything he needs to, and he just spins out right in front of him. There it is. Lowhead into the wall, upside down, and out of this race basically. So really tough break for Lowhead. And that's going to keep shortening the race. More and more and more drivers faking about coming onto pit road. Billy Wise up to the front. Tom Johnson staying up front, avoiding all the mess. Definitely trying to put some good points down on the board. As you see Chris Robert's there going by. He is going to get his lap back, possibly 2 laps back. And he's going to try to get it back up front. He's only going to have 20 laps to do it. And with the cautions every 3 or 4 laps that are happening right now, I don't really see that happening too much. As we see Bobby Wise going around, he's going to get a lap back. He is 2 laps down at the moment. I believe Brian Lowhead is going to be in the pits for a little while because he did have to tow, so that's going to give him at least 2 laps down. He should be able to get back on the racetrack, but he is going to be all the way down in 16th position by the time that happens. So he is going to have to work his way on up. Zudema and Smith still 7 up on their starting positions. So those two got to move somewhere, and one of them is going to get that point for most positions gained. Most positions lost is Chris Roberge, currently 10 positions down from where he started, starting up in P3. Roberge having a rough day, but Koneman enjoying his time up front, I'm sure. Although it may be caution-filled, he doesn't have anybody in front of him, and he hasn't had anybody in front of him the whole race. So Koneman's sitting pretty. Looks like this is going to be 2 to go. We're going to go 1 to go next time by. Almost 15 laps to go once we get to the get back green flag racing. And Lowhead might be able to get out on the track. These guys are doing minute 4-second pace laps. Yeah, and there he is, Brian Lowhead coming up out of the pits. We get back on track. He is, looks like 2 laps down. So we'll see if he can get those laps back, and looks like he might be going to the outside. Looks like he's going to hop in behind the 12. And he's going to give the 12 a little bit of nudge there. Looks like letting him know he's not very happy with him. Brian Lowhead, tempers flaring. It's not so much a short track, but the tempers of a short track are flaring, and we're 1 to go. Brandon Minnick really excited on that outside line to try to catch Koneman. But Koneman's got Johnson behind him. So Johnson might be able to get that jump on Minnick. Billy Wise is going to have to figure out what to do. He's got himself up to a good spot. He does not want to fall back, and he's got some very fast drivers that will take that inside line and try to take it from him. So he's going to have to do something there in fourth position, but it's all going to be on Don Koneman in the 97. That pace car is going to pull off. Koneman's going to wait, and now he gets on it. Oh, and Minnick did not get a very good start. Johnson is going to have the inside advantage. Koneman's going to pull way out. Billy Wise doesn't jump down inside Minnick. Minnick going to the outside of Johnson. And Billy Wise trying to stay on his tail. Great start. Travis Zunema battling with Steven Kiefer. Oh, getting so close. Andrew Smith back there battling, trying to get by as well. Lots of great action happening on the racetrack. There goes Kiefer on the outside. As the battle heats up front, Tom Johnson. Another yellow flag comes out. I have to see. It looks like Brian Lowhead once again. And that might have been payback. Not really sure what that was, but that might have been payback for what happened earlier. I'm sure that everybody in that those parties are going to be called into the race hall or at the end of the race, because it has been an ongoing thing between them two drivers. And these guys are 60 laps into this, 15 laps to go. We've had, I believe, 8 caution flags now. So exponentially getting closer and closer together, and these drivers are getting exponentially more anxious in these race cars as the laps start ticking down, and their time to make moves does as well. Don Koneman currently out front with Tom Johnson right behind him, and Brandon Minnick still there in third place. Billy Wise holding on to fourth, turning a rough qualifying run into an all right night. Daniel Cook in that 11 holding on to 5th place, and Travis Zunema up to 6, 9 positions up from where he had started this race. Ronald Lyons there right behind Zunema with Steven Kiefer, Dalton Brown, and Andrew Smith in the number 87 rounding out the top 10. Andrew staying in 10th, but with all that going on, it's kind of hard to keep a good line. And Chris Ramirez, I mean, he's only gained a couple spots, but he is up to 12th position. I'm sure he's going to be pushing very, very hard in these last 10 laps to be able to get up a little bit further and get some more points on the board and not make this a total loss kind of night. What do y'all think? Do you think we're going to have one more restart? You think we're going to go green from the end? You think we're going to have a couple more cautions? Let us know what you think. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you're still with us. We love having you guys here. And this is just the beginning. The action is just going to heat up. With 10 laps to go when we go back racing, these drivers are going to be making moves like they weren't making 50 laps ago. And the drivers up front are the ones you really got to watch for. Koneman trying to stay out of trouble all race long. Is he going to have a problem, or can he pull his string of bad luck out and come in and take the victory here at Iowa? We'll have to see. Everybody trying to stay low as they can. Might be getting low on fuel with all the cautions we've been having. we will see what they are doing. Johnson going to be in the predicament of being on the outside on the restart. Going to have a rough time with Brandon Minnick on the inside. I guarantee you Brandon is not going to let him get down if he can help it. Koneman just has to get a good start, and Johnson has to get an amazing start right next to Koneman. Otherwise, he is probably going to fall back a couple spots unless Billy Wise stays on the outside. We've seen Billy Wise had the opportunity to go down to the inside, and he has not quite taken it yet. Is this last 10 laps or 11 laps that it's going to be? Is that going to be the time to take that dive to the inside? He's got Daniel Cook that's real hungry on the inside right behind Minnick, so we'll have to see if Billy Wise can make it happen. Can he get back on a podium again 2 weeks in a row? Don Koneman, can we get a green flag restart? I think we can do a onboard restart with Tom Johnson. Pace car's pulling on off, and there goes Koneman. You see Minnick's tire down there on the inside. Oh, Johnson does a good job of getting down to the inside, right behind Minnick. He's going to have to do something else. You see Minnick really holding that inside. Looks like Johnson lets off a little bit. Doesn't want to give him any help to catch Koneman. Battles happening in the back. Billy Wise falling way back from starting on the outside down to 7th place already. He finally gets in line behind Travis Zunema, who's got himself up to 6th. And it looks like Dalton Brown about to fall back a little bit more with Jacob Van and Chris Robert's trying to get him on the inside. It looks like they're going to do it right there down the straight. That's how much more speed they have drafting together. Andrew Smith going to come into that draft and take Dalton Brown out as well. Up top, Minnick trying to chase Koneman down. He's looking to the inside. Billy Wise stays a little bit back, which is going to be rough. Chris Robert's doing everything he can. Him and Jacob Van battling for 8th place. 7th and 8th place. And it's mostly single file. Koneman doing a great job leading, trying to stay out in front of Minnick, who's been hard charging all day long. These guys starting to get a little wishy. 7 laps to go. Minnick all over Koneman's tail. He's going to use that outside, try to get a little bit of extra speed through the corner and try to get underneath Koneman coming out of 4. He's not going to have enough room to do it. Not this time. And Travis Zunema has an issue. What happened to Zunema? Another issue with Travis Zunema. Currently was running 6th position. And he touched the apron coming out of 2 again. Same thing as the first time, only this time he did get into the wall. Oh, Trav, what a rough go. Meanwhile, up front, 5 laps to go. Brandon Minnick doing everything he can, trying to get by Don Koneman, looking to the high side, looking to the low side, and Koneman just shuts the door on the low side and says, you're going to have to pass me high if you do. Chris Robert's making his way up the field. He's currently passing Jacob Van for 6th position. A great recovery for that 98 machine. Kiefer getting past Tom Johnson, now working his way up to Brandon Minnick as they get ready to complete lap number 72 out of 75. 3 more laps to go here in round number 5. Koneman, Minnick, and Johnson, your top 3, all right together, here at Iowa Speedway. Daniel Cook and Ronald Lyons, the number 86, 4th and 5th at the moment. Minnick all over Koneman's tail. He's diving below the yellow line. Koneman, too much speed. Minnick can't get there. 2 laps to go. Tom Johnson's just waiting for one of them to make a mistake, and he can fall into that victory. Plenty of room between him and Daniel Cook in 4th position, so he just has to worry about the 2 cars in front. White flag in the air, 1 more lap to go for these guys. 3 drivers, 25 seconds. It's all happening right here on JP Broadcasting. What is Minnick gonna do out of turn number 2? He looks a little bit to the high side, trying to get a run through 3 and 4. He's got almost half a car length. I don't think he's gonna be close enough. Coming out of turn 4, checkered flag in the air. They come across the stripe. Don Koneman's gonna take it. Brandon Minnick second. Tom Johnson third. Daniel Cook takes home 4th with Ronald Lyons coming home in 5th position. Chris Roberts has a great drive up from the back of the field after that incident. Takes home 6th. Jacob Van gonna take home 7th. Stephen Keither takes 8th. Andrew Smith gonna take that point for the most positions gained, staying 7 positions up from where he started in 9th. And Dalton Brown going to go into 10th position. What a great race here. Final finish for the end. Minnick tried and just could not get it done against Don Koneman. And let's take a look one more time at that white flag lap from Brandon Minnick's point of view here on the roll car. Tries everything, gets down as low as he can, and just can't get it done, as that number 97 is going to take the win. And what a drive. 75 laps, a bunch of cautions, lots of patience needed, and in the end, pulls it off for the win. Let's take a look. And we've got a few drivers here that are looking to talk to us. We're going to pull up our 3rd place finisher, Tom Johnson. What a race out there today. You held your ground. You stayed within striking distance just in case anything happened. Tell us how your race went from your point of view.
This track is so hard to pass at, man. If you mess up and slide up a little, let the guy get below you, you're done for. He's going to be around you. But and that happened to me one time there. But yeah, it's tough to race here, you know. And then if you get below that yellow in the corners at all, you're going around big time.
Yeah. The Travis Unema, he had 2 breaks where he got into the apron each time, and it really bit him, and he had a rough go. Ended up finishing 13th. Looks like you kept your car in great shape this entire time. What's the key in a really fast track where you have to draft? What's the key in staying up front but not being too close?
Well, you still got to let up every now and you got to give and take a little, you know. If you don't give and take, you're going to be in trouble.
For sure. Well, another very consistent finish. You got anybody you want to thank for all this driving?
I want to thank Glenn for his Simability League and stuff, and thank Billy for putting this on. Thank you for broadcasting. And then I want to shout out to Johnny, who's doing some recovery right now. I hope he heals up well, man. We missed him tonight.
Yeah, big shout out Johnny Berardi, driver of the 99 machine, having some medical stuff going on, so he is not with us here for a few weeks, and our thoughts and prayers are with him. How are you feeling about the next few weeks. We have Irwindale, Langley, and Lanier coming up. 3 very short tracks. How do you think you're gonna fare with those?
I hope to do well. I mean, there's some of these tracks like when we did the Charlotte roll little oval there. I was worried about that one, but it ended up doing pretty well. So um, just it just depends, my mood that day and stuff. So just got to come in it with an open mind and get after it.
For sure. Well, there you have it. Number 23, Tom Johnson, your third place finisher here, round 5 with the Simability Racing League. And now a driver that had a little bit of controversy during the race. He did everything he could to try to knock Don Koneman off the front, and he just couldn't get it done. Brandon Minnick, you had a great drive, started second, finished second. Tell us about your race. Brandon, it's Rob up in the booth. You got me? All right. It looks like we do not have Brandon Minnick. So let's pull our race winner into the booth. Don Koneman, you pulled it off. You got it done. You got the monkey off your back. How'd you do it?
Honestly, I put the pedal down and didn't look in my mirror, and it worked out for us. Won't complain. Very ecstatic. Especially after the past couple weeks, we needed this one.
Yeah, it was a very satisfying win indeed. What kind of stress goes through your mind when you have caution after caution? We went 18 laps without a caution, and then we went 9 laps, and then we went 3, and then we couldn't almost go 2 laps without a caution. What kind of physical or mental strain does that put on you as a driver on a track as large as this?
Honestly, myself, I didn't mind it. I knew the cars were going to be bunched up side by side. I was kind of changing the Don famous launches there if you didn't see on the restarts. So I was trying never to restart in the same zone so they would expect it. And just trying to restart and get out in front of them. Once I was in front, I didn't care. And every restart, it worked.
Yeah, there was a few restarts where it almost looked like you gave Chris Roberts just enough room to get in between, and there's a couple restarts where it looked like you didn't want a person to be able to get down from the outside. Is there a kind of strategy like that plays through your mind, or are you more of just a trying to drive your own race and see what comes of it kind of person?
Well, me and Chris have always been friends on the track, but I never gave him a purpose in the night. Honestly, as soon as I floored it, I never lifted from the get-go. Except when we had cold tires, I was lifting a little bit because my car kind of turned itself in the corner really well, but after the tires cooled down, it wasn't that fast. So catch 22 there thing, but no, never gave anyone an automatic in. As soon as I was flooring, the green flag dropped. It was straight in front of me the whole time.
Well, it definitely worked out for you. These drafting tracks, you never know what's going to happen. That 81, Brandon Minnick, he was very fast behind you. He was the
So
one making the most moves on the
I gotta give
racetrack
a
coming out of turn 4, and you did a fantastic job of holding off that inside 9 and not letting him get down below you. What kind of skill does it take to drive against a driver who's bound and determined to get by you?
well. First of all, I gotta say thank you to Brandon. He drove an excellent race, and he could have won it the dirty way and got me out of the way many times the dirty way, but he never did. He raced me clean the whole way. So first, hats off to him for his excellent driving skill there. And honestly, my goal was that yellow line down on the bottom. I knew I had to guard that yellow. I warned everybody going into the race, if you try to pass me under the yellow, then you better be able to enter under the yellow. So that's how it went. And he really good racer, nothing bad to say about him, and he raced me hard and clean. So I'm as a race car driver, you can't be anything happier than that.
Yep, that is for sure. Having a clean drive with someone and having a hard drive with someone is definitely more satisfying than just winning it 5 seconds out in front of everybody. That is for sure. Don, you got anybody you want to thank for this awesome win you had tonight?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Brandon for not stuffing me. Other than that, Swagger in, you for broadcasting, Chris Beers for helping me in the beginning. He wasn't intent on passing me. He was happy with second and just pushed me along. Um, oh, and possible future sponsor, Norms and Linden too.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Don Koneman, winner of round number 5 here at Iowa Speedway. And that is going to do it for us here at JP Broadcasting. Thank you all so much for coming out this evening. It has been an absolute blast hanging out with you. And until next time, we will see you guys later.
Jungle.